When everything we consume is the worst thing ever by some mouth breather on the internet, how is anything truly the worst thing ever? Time for the only podcast to officially create a list of the worst movies ever made. The only one. For real. Worst movies ever.
Worst movies ever!
Welcome to the first episode, official, quote unquote, official. And this is for everybody that hasn't been aware that for 5 fucking years I've been doing this podcast, but it's been living on a Patreon, a paywall exclusive podcast called Worst Movies Ever. And this is the first official free podcast that I've done open to the public. I used to do a podcast called Astro Radio Z back in the day where we would cover a lot of horror exploitation, action, comedy, all sorts of like low grade, what most people would term low grade cinema or art or what pop culture bullshit. And now I've been out of that game for a while and only kind of done podcasting via Patreon and decided probably for stupid reasons to come back to the podcasting realm. And with me today on this inaugural episode of Worst Movies Ever, the podcast where we come to the decision if things are actually the worst things ever. And psst, they rarely ever are. I shouldn't have to tell you why I say that, but I know everybody seems to love calling everything the worst movie ever. With me today is my partner, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, say hi to the people of the world.
Hi to the people of the world.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm very excited to talk about this movie.
Welcome, Mackenzie, to this podcast. Now, people that are just tuning into this for the first time, obviously you have to be, if you didn't listen to my zero primer episode that kind of clues you into what this podcast is about. I'm going to be having guests come on, people that want to sit and suffer with me through these movies. Now, today wasn't necessarily a movie to suffer through. It's a fairly well-known movie, but I tend to watch a lot of shit, everything from micro-budget shot on video stuff to the big theater releases. And the movie we're talking about here today, Halloween H20, obviously big tentpole movie, franchise that now spans how many fucking Halloween movies are there? Do you know?
I don't know. There's so many. Too
fucking many of these movies. But the movie we're talking about tonight was supposedly in the canon, because if you remember, Mackenzie, there are 4 different cycles of canons or 3 different cycles of canons with the Halloween series. Now, have you watched all the Halloween movies?
I have not watched all of the Halloween movies. No.
Which ones have you watched?
The original, H20, Rob Zombie.
That might be it?
Yeah.
And when you think of Halloween, what's probably your favorite one?
I love Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Is that your favorite one?
I watch it every year.
Now you do realize, or maybe you don't realize, the vast majority of people that are going to listen to this podcast are now going to just disregard everything that you have to say.
That's fine. Let people live. Let people like what they like. Okay.
I love this. I love the sentiment. I love where you're going with this. I am generally in. And if you didn't listen to the primary episode, know nothing about me and know nothing about Astro Radio Z or any of the other podcasts that I've ever done, you got to know that going into this podcast, I'm not actively seeking to shit on movies, but I generally go into everything I ever watch wanting to like it, giving it a chance and telling people, you know what? You may not agree with me, but I don't give a fucking shit. That's how it should be. If you like something, like it. If I like something, I'm going to like it. Nobody's opinion is going to alter that. Do you generally take that philosophy?
Absolutely. I don't think there's anything worse than shitting on something that brings someone else joy. There's not enough of it. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. 100%.
Something makes someone happy. Let it.
Yeah. Let them be happy. There's too much on the internet with people trying to convince people that things are objectively awful. When somebody says that to you, Kenz, do you tend to does your asshole tighten like a grip? Does it piss you off? Does it bother you?
I think it more so makes me roll my eyes. Like, why are you so miserable? Why can't you just, what is it about you that you can't let other people find joy in something?
There was a great meme that I saw one time where it was a person about to say something bad and someone's behind them and closes their lips, like grips their lips and says, shh, let people like things.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I am firmly in that place. But today we're here to determine once and for all, is Halloween H20 the worst movie ever or one of the worst movies ever? Because on the Patreon podcast, if you guys weren't aware, which I'm sure the vast majority of you aren't, we actively over the last 5 years have put together a list of the actual worst movies ever. And it's the official one. I won't listen to a single other motherfucker in this earth that tells me that list isn't full of the worst movies on earth. Because if you do, you're wrong. Anyway, and of course, let's go back. Everyone's opinion's differently, but
not everyone's opinion is right.
So here, we're just going to give you our opinion of, we just watched this thing. And I've seen this movie. I don't know about you. Did you see this movie in the theater?
No, but I would have seen it like shortly after it came out to
like VHS or whatever. And I've seen this a handful of times in my life. And my opinion on this movie has kind of fluctuated between, I remember going to the movie theater when this originally came out. I believe I went on a date and I saw this movie. I really loved this movie when it first came out, mostly because of that ending. And we'll get to it when we get to it. But over time, and maybe just as we all age, and I'm speaking generally, our tastes do change. You know, our views on the world change. What we want to consume and what we want to handle changes. And the Halloween movies, to me, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, like, they are essentially a series of one movie.
Absolutely. They are the same movie.
Except for part 3, the one where it goes back to the original anthology idea that John Carpenter, the director of the original film, had in mind if any sequels were to ever be made, you know, because he didn't want to do it until they handed him a big check. And he was like, okay, I guess we can make this happen.
That's a pretty effective motivator.
Yeah, I like money. Right. So over the years, they just kept regurgitating the same movie until, you know, we get to this one and it's effectively the same fucking movie. So I never get too excited about these Halloween movies, to be honest. I watch them all. I've seen all of them. I don't know why.
I mean, going into it exactly what you're going to get. It is the same movie. I still enjoy them. I think they're fun.
I think they're fun too, even though they're just incredibly fucking stupid. So stupid. Would you say, out of, like, if we were going to take the big slasher villains like Jason and Freddy and Ghostface and Michael Myers and Leprechaun and Pinhead and all these people, and Leatherface, all these people that get lumped into these, and Chucky, who's your favorite?
Tied for first, Ghostface and Michael Myers.
I would say that's a solid choice. I love the Scream movies.
I love them.
All of them. I did a deep dive of the Scream movies, I would say probably 2 years ago. And other than part 4, I think that is like the most consistent outside of Nightmare on Elm Street. All those movies are really fun too.
I think the Scream movies are genuinely funny. Like, they're fun and you get everything you order when you decide to watch a slasher movie, and I think you get a little extra.
Yeah,
I think they're genuinely funny.
They're smartly written,
yes,
right? And they're full of really good character actors. They're poppy, they're fun, and taking that and going into today, Halloween H20 is written by the same guy who wrote the original Scream, so it has a lot of that sensibility in it. Now, is this that movie? No, I wouldn't necessarily say it. But this movie in particular has a lot of those same attributes where it's very punchy. It's got a lot of humor in it. And it doesn't feel like the original Halloween movies. It does in some ways. but it really is kind of a different beast. And I think that's what they were going for when Dimension / Miramax picked this up and wanted to kind of like, it feels almost like they wanted to end the series, but also take it and revitalize some energy into to make a few more schmeckles, right?
Make it a little fresher.
So,
make it a little modern.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here on the Worst Movies Ever podcast, I structure this podcast in a very specific way because it allows us to really deep dive into the movie. If you're expecting like a history lesson on anything, or like either of us to be experts on a single fucking thing about anything, you're listening to the wrong fucking podcast. We're just two schmoes that like fucking movies. I've been involved as a video editor for over 20 years at this point, and I've also made and been involved in low budget horror movies for a long, long time. So I kind of have some knowledge of the background of movie production and how things go. So I'll kind of talk from that perspective when I talk. Kenz, you're just a fan.
I'm just here for a good time. I'm just along for the ride and happy to be here.
Do you know how that sounds?
I don't care.
I'm just here for a good time, baby.
I'm going to have one.
Good. I love it. I absolutely love it. So here on the podcast, how we normally do it, we're going to start off like telling you guys about the plot of the movie, our general thoughts, and whether or not we feel this movie deserves to be on the list of the worst movies ever. Then after we get done with that, and I'm not going to say this every episode, but this is the first one, so we're going to go through this so we can set the stage. We're going to go through what was good about the movie, what was bad about the movie, and then those special little what the fucks that happen in every single movie that we ever watched that makes us step back and go, what the fuck is that? And then that's our podcast. So the plot of Halloween H20, like you don't fucking know what's going to happen in this movie. And this is what I wrote down, Kenz. Laurie Strode and her son go in hiding, and they are now holed up in a private school 20 years later after Halloween 2 happened. And guess what? Brosif returns to ruin their day. Will they survive the Creed song at the end?
We almost didn't.
Well, I can tell you that. Can you fucking believe? Like, we were, of course, the end hit and credits hit, and the fucking Halloween song like hits, and then it starts to fade. And I just looked at Ken's. I go, cue shitty 90s song, and boy, did it deliver.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning that you've been building a 90s playlist all day today, and I'm like, as soon as the first note hit, I'm like, there was no way we were getting away from today without hearing fucking Creed.
And mind you, folks, it had nothing to do with the fact that we were watching this movie. Like, how did we even start that conversation where I was building that?
Presidents of the United States of America.
Oh, that's right. Didn't we hear it? It was on a TikTok. It was a TikTok thing. Yep. So we started building a list. Oh, God damn it. Life is weird, ain't it? So at the end of the day, what are your general thoughts on Halloween H20? How did you, watching it this time? Because this is obviously not the first time you've watched this.
Well, the last time I watched it was a few years ago, and I remember watching it be like, this is so bad. After watching it tonight, not great. It was exactly what you'd expect, but I think that my perspective is a little different on it because we've so recently watched those other 90s horror movies. So those movies have kind of been fresh, and we've been exposed to them pretty recently. So I think that definitely impacted my opinion on this. Like, it felt very similar to those movies. It was silly, it was bad, but it was fun to watch with you.
I think, and we had kind of discussed this while we were watching the movie too, was that my opinion, I think, varies greatly if I'm watching it by myself or if I'm watching it with someone else. And this happened to me years ago when I finally got to see the original Friday the 13th in the movie theater. Like, for years, the original Friday the 13th was one of my least favorite of the entire series. And then when I saw it in the theater, I'm like, oh, I get it. This is a communal, fun group movie. And I think these kind of movies, when you're with the right people, are a lot of fun to watch. And I agree with you. I really think that this movie, there's been points in my life where I really did not like this movie. I remember when we chose to do this as the first episode, when we were kind of bullshitting and wanting to rewatch this. And I kind of threw the idea that I was going to revamp this show and kind of redo it for the general audience, that I would that this would be the first episode, because I was like, man, this movie sucks. I remember last time I watched it thinking, man, this movie sucks. And the last time I watched it was, I used to run a group on Facebook for 31 Days of Horror. And I had run that thing for over 15 years, where every single day, I'm sure most horror fans will be doing similar things. For the month of October, you watch one horror movie, and then in the group we talk about it and whatever. I watched the entire series of Halloween, like for like a week or however long it takes to watch all those movies. And I remember watching this one thinking, God, that fucking movie sucks. Like, how did I ever like that fucking movie? But sitting here watching it with you, man, we had a lot of laughs. And the movie's short. So
less than an hour and a half, I think.
It just comes and goes, and there it is. So I actually enjoyed it for what it was this time. And I mean, obviously, voice your opinion. Does this deserve to be on the list of the worst movies ever?
I'm going to say no.
And it comes to no surprise to a single motherfucker listening to this. Of course, this doesn't deserve to be on the list of the worst movies ever. It's not one of the worst movies ever. It's actually, I don't think I can say this. I don't think it's one of the better Halloween movies.
No.
Because it's not really it's a horror movie, but it's not scary. The only thing they try to attempt to scare you with are jump scares.
There are a lot of them.
Considerable amount of fucking ridiculous auditory stings every 5 minutes, at least.
They're constant.
It is so fucking bad. So anyways, let's get to the goods, the bads, and the what the fucks of Halloween H20.
What is good?
When I think of what's good about this movie, and I kind of already let the cat out of the bag, it's the fact that this movie is short and punchy. If this movie wasn't short and punchy and it lingered the way the original Halloween movies did, like part 1 and part 2 was a little more punchy than part 1, but part 1 is a very methodical kind of movie where there's a lot of space, a lot of like silence. Not really silences, because that score is all over the entire thing, but it's very much about the atmosphere more than it is about kills, and more than it is about having to constantly be down your throat about it being a horror movie. This movie was way more informed by everything that came after it. So for me, when I think about this as a piece of entertainment that came after it and watching it now, I appreciate the fact that it's fast. It moves. There's no dead air in this movie, because I think with the elements that this movie has and what they're trying to do, they would have never accomplished the first movie, like trying to replicate that.
No.
Yeah. That's something that I enjoyed about it tremendously. You agree?
I do agree. Good for me. It's definitely the pace of it, that it stays fun throughout, and there are moments of silliness. And it wasn't scary, but there were moments where I was like clenching my fists a little bit.
Really?
Like, what's gonna I wasn't scared, but I'm like preparing for
something to happen, the inevitable,
the gore, and what I'm like, okay, what are they gonna do? It was fun.
Do you think that the gore, when you think about the Halloween movies, because the original Halloween movie doesn't have really any gore at all. It is seriously almost like a ghost movie where people die in it with a killer. Do you think when you look at part 1 and then you look at this, that it kind of takes away from it? Or do you think that's the only way that this movie would work?
I think that this movie, the H20, had to be what it was to fit in with who it was marketed towards and the other horror movies being put out at the time. I think it was fitting. I think it was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. And having said that, my next good that I have on the list is that, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis is a badass in this movie. What do you think of? Because she's a totally different character in this movie from the original movie. What did you think of her?
I was thrilled when she grabbed the axe. As soon as she started walking around slinging that axe, I'm like,
and just to let you guys know, once we've gotten to the good, the bads, and the what the fucks, we're spoiling. So if you guys are looking to not have this movie spoiled, if for some reason you're of an age that you've never watched Halloween H20 and you don't realize that Jamie Lee Curtis is getting terrorized by Michael Myers, we're gonna be spoiling this movie. But if you haven't seen this movie, we do recommend you go back and turn off the podcast, watch the movie. It's only an hour and 24 minutes or some bullshit like that, and come back and listen.
Watch it with a friend.
Watch it with a friend. Thank you. Very good point. And come back because we're going to spoil the shit out of this movie. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis in this. Well, one, she's always a good actress, right? Mm-hmm. Even when she's like hamming it up like that, really stupid, that like how she's introduced in this movie, where she's horribly screaming at a bad dream. God, it's so terrible. It's really bad. She's like, once it gets to the best part of the movie for me is once all the rest of the characters are wiped off the slate, and it's just her and Michael Myers, best part of the movie.
Absolutely.
She's just a fucking menace badass in this movie, and I love it. And she's that scene where she basically tells Disheveled Hair.
He has a name.
What's his name?
Josh Hartnett.
Okay. I didn't want to say it because you can't look at that motherfucker and not go, dude, get a real fucking haircut and actually do something.
So uneven.
Okay, let's not get to the bads yet. But that scene where she basically in the street tells him, "What the fuck are you doing?" So funny.
After she had 2 glasses of wine.
Yeah. Well, she slammed those 2 glasses of wine.
She went to finish teaching.
So fucking Jesus. I was surprised she didn't even just look at that fucking waiter and just go, "Just bring me the fucking bottle, Josh."
And just slam it.
Just slam it
right out of the bottle.
In front of the best boyfriend ever, right?
So supportive.
Next best thing in this movie to me, LL Cool J telling sex stories to his girlfriend on the phone. So LL Cool J plays a security guard in this movie at the fucking private school that Jamie Lee Curtis is teaching at. And let's get out of the way. He's probably the worst security guard ever on earth. But he is an aspiring romantic novelist. And he just sits on the phone because nobody's breaking into this thing other than tiny Michael Myers. And he's just talking to his girlfriend or wife, we don't know who exactly she is, on the phone, just reading his ideas and his novel, which sound like lurid fucking Harlequin romance.
Absolutely.
Novels.
That he writes on like little quarter-sized legal pads, just yellow paper with his writings on it. But it's very sweet.
It's sweet, and whoever the actress is that is on the phone is so wonderful. Mm-hmm. Like their interactions are for me, outside of the Jamie Lee Curtis stuff, the best fucking part of this movie, because every time that happens, I just smile because it's so dumb and it's so funny. Because they just have it seemed like real people talking to each other, even though what a ridiculous scenario. Another thing that I really liked was that Jamie Lee Curtis got to have scenes with her mom, and each and every one of those scenes were pretty cute.
They were.
Next part, and this gets into the death aspect of this movie when we get to the gore. There's a particular scene that I loved in which a dumbwaiter was involved.
That's the one scene I remembered when we were like, we're going to watch this movie. Like, there's a dumbwaiter in this movie.
Yep. You can't forget it because there's this couple, this really cute. Let's hold up. We'll get to it. Where this cute brunette and this dude with a schnoz.
So big.
This I'm not trying to body shame anyone.
I have a big nose.
I have a big nose. So we immediately looked at each other and said, he's part of the club. The Big Nose Club.
He could be president or at least treasurer.
We have no idea how these two are dating at all. He was so beneath her. She was way out of his league.
1000%.
But he gets killed in the dumbwaiter by Michael Myers, and she's basically cornered into it. And Michael Myers, as they're trying to do the kind of the rope-a-dope where she goes in, closes the door. Oh no, Michael Myers is attempting to do something. Oh no, she opens it back up to try and get out. And Michael Myers cuts the rope and the thing falls right on her fucking leg and it tears her fucking leg off. So good.
So much bone.
So like clear break. And she just like sliding across the fucking trying to crawl away.
The gangly leg just hanging behind.
It's so fucking good. And then my last good of the movie, it was the window shot. It's probably the most famous shot of this movie where Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis see each other for the first time through the door window. What a great image, even though, and this goes right into the fucking bads.
What is bad?
Michael Myers' mask is so shitty in this movie. Let's just talk about Mini Mike for a second here before we get any more close.
You've heard of Magic Mike.
we got
Mini Mike.
We got Mini Mike. Michael Myers in this movie is a fucking joke. He has got to be max 5'8".
Yeah.
I couldn't believe, like, there were scenes his height fucking fluctuated between him not being barely above the height of most of the women in this movie to being taller than the tallest man in this movie. I was guessing that they just, like, some scenes forgot to, like, get perspective of how tall this guy was, or just toss some apple boxes under him to walk to make him look. Because when he was just standing next to people, he was so short. It was a joke. He was not intimidating, and that mask did him no fucking favors.
No.
The decision of them to not black out his eyes and have his eyes it looked like a fucking fan Halloween film.
Yeah. The eyes really ruined the whole, I think, essence of,
like, the mystique of the shape. And that was just some short dude. Could have been Joe Pesci out there with a fucking knife in a mask. Michael Myers in this movie, hands down, has to be the worst in the series.
I think that's fair.
Outside of Josh Hartnett's fucking hair. He was like that for so many movies.
He looks the same in every. Got the same, like, disposition, the same kind of swagger about him, the same shitty hair.
The shitty hair. I can't even look at the guy's face because I'm just staring at somebody took scissors to his fucking, like, he just one night with the lights off decided to start cutting his hair. And then was just like, all right.
Okay, it's good enough. I mean, if it works.
I suppose. You got game. You got game.
Get it, Josh.
Right? Okay, so the one of the first scenes, not to jump around, but that's what we do here on this podcast. First scene where Michael Myers' nurse, and she gets killed at her house. Of course, why do people in the 90s in these movies have murder walls? With like paper clippings of every fucking maps and
news clippings
and yarn going to various points to try and, like, triangulate a hypothesis and a solution to this is just a motherfucker going around killing people. Like, what are you trying to solve?
Figure out where he is. Find the reason behind the madness.
Does that bother you in movies when you see that?
Murder walls?
Yeah.
No,
you like that?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Why do you think it's great?
I think it's fun. I get the idea behind it, like the desire to want to map something out visually and try to connect pieces and to, make sense of something that other people aren't maybe seeing.
But you're not a police officer. What the fuck are you trying to figure out?
We'll have all kinds of hobbies. I don't know why it was there.
Or a nurse.
Was that her house or was it her patient's house?
No, that was her house. Yeah. This nurse who for some reason had Donald Pleasance's photo from Halloween 1 framed on her desk. What the fuck is that? Oh, speaking of Donald Pleasance, in the opening credits, they have what supposed to be Donald Pleasance speaking lines from Halloween 1 with an echo to kind of mask the fact that ain't fucking Donald Pleasance. Why couldn't they used a clip from fucking Halloween 1 in a flashback. Why couldn't they get fucking Donald Pleasance to speak those lines or like just grab the fucking shit from the other movie?
I don't have an answer for that.
I don't get it. They must not have had the licensing or the rights in order to use that audio, which is really fucking weird because they used the clip from the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the only clip they could get. And maybe they just grabbed it from the trailer.
Oh.
Because those are public domain. You know what I mean? Oh, Jesus Christ. Another bad. And I can't wait to hear some of your bads. The constant loud noises that we fucking alluded to every 5 minutes. Every time someone turned around, like some sting, like you were supposed to shit your pants with a jump scare. That shit.
There were so many. We should have tallied them. There were a lot. They were constant.
It was non-fucking stop. And that shit, after a while, was like, okay, we get it. There was no cat scare in this movie, though. So there's a scene later in the movie, is another bad, where Jamie Lee Curtis and her school, the counselor, their boyfriend, are about to be intimate. They're at home doing like the thing that rarely anybody that wants to have sex ever does, is try to eat food out of each other's mouth like it's sexy. Like, have you ever, and I mean, speak to it or don't speak to it. I'm just as a human being curious. Have you ever like tried to integrate food into like sex?
No. Well, I mean,
like whipped cream and all these things that you see in movies.
so sticky.
Exactly. In no way is it sexy.
I like food. Don't get me wrong.
I love food. You see my belly.
But no.
So that little tangent leading up to they're trying to, get busy doing the.
What it was? What do you think he ate out of her mouth? It looked like a gummy of some kind.
I don't think it was a gummy. It was way too thin for a gummy. Almost was like a slice of fruit or something like that. Or like, I like to think it was beef jerky. I don't know why, but that's kind of where my brain goes. But she had alluded to earlier in the scene where she was guzzling Chardonnay at the fucking bar, that she had a secret to tell him. And that she isn't who he thinks she is. Well, we find out that she has been going under an alias this entire time, and nobody knows that she's Laurie Strode, who has faked her death and went into hiding so Minnie Mike wouldn't find her. Well, when she starts to reveal this, she starts to reveal her identity. He looks up and goes, "That's sucky." Worst boyfriend ever?
And she goes on and he doesn't say that's like, I forget what he says, but it's followed immediately by something like, that's too bad. Take your clothes off.
Yeah. Can you take your blouse off or something? The boy,
like
his
nothing
dick,
is killing this boner.
No,
nothing.
This boner's hard. Are you going to bounce this or what? Oh, I may be killed. Am I going to get some?
Am I getting some? Like, I know I'm a counselor lady. I'm off the clock. Time for you to get on this cock. Like, come on.
God, that scene was just like any person I've ever known in a sexual capacity. If something like that would have been said, sex is off the table immediately. Like immediately. I'm just going to flat out disrespect you. But my dick.
You've been living under an alias for the entire time that I've known you and fallen in love with you, and you're telling me all of these deep things.
That's sucky.
I mean, we're still going to do this, right? Like.
And then my last bad, of course, is the goddamn Creed song at the end of that fucking gimmick. Jesus Christ.
It was bad.
All right. What are some of your bads?
The beginning of the movie, the opening scene when the two like teenage boys or the one kid, Jason Gordon-Levitt, investigates the house, and it's 3 p.m. when he goes on the house. The sun is out. It is bright. He goes in and he's just kind of casing the house to see if there's anybody in there.
Yeah.
Comes out. He's apparently doing that for hours because when he comes back outside, it is dark.
Pitch black.
Night dark. It is not dusk. The sun did not just set. It was dark. And the two people that were waiting for him, so the nurse and his friend, just stood outside the house for hours, I guess. And the two people that were waiting outside didn't seem fazed by the amount of time that had passed either. They're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for doing that.
So we move on to the last section, which is our what the fucks.
What the fuck is that?
And boy, is this one a what the fuck. So the main plot point of the early portion of this movie is that these kids are all about to leave and go on a trip, like a field trip to Yosemite. And Jamie Lee Curtis's son, a big thing is she doesn't want to let him out of her sight because Michael Myers might show up. She's so like shell shocked and has PTSD from fucking Michael Myers in the night that she had spent that she's overtly protective of him. So when the kids finally all leave, they all leave on the smallest parade of buses imaginable. Instead of getting one fucking regular ass bus, they found 3 completely different small buses that looked like they got them straight from a fucking dump and repainted them haphazardly and drove probably a good 100 kids in 3 small buses.
Those buses could fit 8 people. Oh, maybe 16 too. Like they were like 4 rows long.
It was laughable.
They were all different shapes.
What the fuck was up with those buses?
Every bus was a different shape.
It made no fucking sense. Why from a production standpoint could you not? Because you know what the funny thing is? When I think about it, the first time we're introduced to the small buses and they're that big group shot, there is a regular size bus in that shot. There's a full size bus, but when they leave and that shot, that like wide master crane shot where they're showing the buses leave and we follow the camera tracks over and follows them as they go down the road. 3 of the smallest, shittiest buses that were, I assume, out of commission for a long, long time.
I'm sure for good reason.
Oh my God. I could not. I was just like gobsmacked by that. I got 2 others. Do you have any what the fucks?
Just the choice of in vehicles in general, the truck that Michael Myers steals from that rest stop, that this very normal looking mom and daughter are driving in the middle of nowhere. Like it is the oldest, oddest, shittiest looking truck. It doesn't fit in with the place or the time. And as it's driving through town and to the school, nobody bats an eye. It
sounded like a diesel truck. You know, I told you while we were watching this, it looked like the same truck that the fucking Creeper drove in Jeepers Creepers.
It did.
It didn't look any different.
Maybe it was.
Like, what the fuck is this chick driving this thing for? Call CPS. That kid doesn't need to be driving in the Creeper's fucking truck.
Well, she's not because Michael Myers took it.
Stole it. What is one of my what the fucks is, and this is more of, again, a general question. What's with the 90s movies obsession with millions of fucking candles being lit in every fucking scene? Like that scene where the kids are like in their rendezvous hiding spot. No fucking 17-year-old is going to light hundreds of candles. I like that always bothers me in movies.
I'm honestly a little surprised you don't hear about more like fires happening from people watching these movies. 100 candles are going to set the tone.
They just left them there. We saw that it was for like 2 shots and then those candles were just left. I don't understand it. Last fucking what the fuck. And it's the ending. And again, spoilers. If we haven't spoiled this enough. Jamie Lee Curtis inexplicably at the end when they're carting Michael Myers, who's supposedly dead, off into the fucking coroner's mobile and put him in a goddamn body bag. Shittily, might I add.
Well, I suppose when you're zipping up a body bag, you don't expect the body inside to want to or be able to
move. But it's Mini Mike. He always comes back. You think they would have fucking zipped that son of a bitch up, duct taped over the top of it, put it in an Iron Maiden, and then submersed it in a water tank?
How many times, as soon as Jamie Lee Curtis grabbed that axe, did I say, chop him into pieces? I know.
So this is, okay, so she ends up stealing this van and running off, None of the cops follow her. None of the cops do anything. They fly off a fucking cliff because of course he comes back and she hits the brakes and he falls out and she rams into him when he gets back up outside, and they literally drive straight off a fucking cliff, do about 15 tumbles. Jamie Lee Curtis is fine, thrown from the vehicle. The van hits Michael Myers and pins him up against a tree. Van looks fine.
Van looks fine. Michael Myers looks fine too, even though you see his whole body like
spazzing.
He's fine.
What the fuck? Again, another one of those, it's a movie, Derek, just shut up and enjoy it, but come on now.
The van started on fire a little bit after it smashed Michael Myers into the tree that was broken down.
But we
didn't see the fire anymore after that.
No, it didn't explode. Like it's a movie. Why didn't it explode? You know what would have been even funnier is if it did all those tumbles and pinned him, exploded, and then we go back down there and it was all fine.
That would have been better.
But then the best part of the movie where she chops his head off happens. Yeah, love that fucking shit. Great ending. So that is Halloween H20. That's what I got for the good, the bads, and the what the fucks. I'm glad we watched this.
I am too. It was fun.
It's, to me, when we do these podcasts, and even though we're bitching and kind of like dogging these movies, I think most people that I've watched movies with, even the really great movies, we're making fun of these things like the entire time. So just because there's some things that don't work for you in movies doesn't make them bad movies. So, guys, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit of time. We'll be doing this. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly, or whenever. I'm just going to do this whenever.
Whatever the fuck you feel like.
Thank you. I wasn't going to be that aggressive, but yeah, the sentiment is there. So hopefully you guys stick around, and I will be back with another shitty movie coming soon. Say goodbye to the people, Kenz.
Goodbye, people. Thanks
Adios,
for listening.
fuckers.
Worst Movies Ever podcast is executive produced by Vaughn Kuhlmeyer and Shannon Smith. For more Worst Movies Ever, and to make the Doctor watch your worst movies ever, subscribe to the Worst Movies Ever Patreon at patreon.com/Worst Movies Ever. There you will get a monthly exclusive WME podcast plucked from the user-generated film list, randomized episode to episode. Until next time, celebrate trash at all costs. Toodles.